You usually like to think simple circles, simple plane paths. This is arguably, on a wrinkle, one of the more tricky plane paths to start things off with.
See, you say that, but over in the Americas region, it's like the first circle is going to be 95% water. That's been the name of the game. We even had that happening on Miramar, of all things. The Chinky itself. I am quite intrigued in this Sonic's play style coupled in with everything. Oh,
Taipei getting full commit. We talked about the potential. Maybe it wasn't all sorted during scrims. And of all the places in the world, Ferry Pier is where we're contesting. We're hearing the crowd, obviously.
They're invested.
Big favorites coming into this one in terms of crowd enchantment. Thailand, please come out on top, because this roof would be completely blown off.
I know. We're pretty close to the audience over here, and I don't want to see what would happen. How this goes. All right, shifting through, you can see a lot of teams just making the quick run in, trying to grab weapons as quick as possible, trying to spot. Circle goes super far to the north. This fight now has to end so fast.
You called the water circles. Well, you're given one right off the bat.
It just happens.
Is that an NA circle? Is that what it is now? I mean, we got Canada up there, right? It's almost as if they were used to it. They knew what was going to. I'm kind of liking the fact that we're almost 5 minutes in and no kills. Again, you talked about land jitters. You don't want to be the player that comes into a LAN event, maybe for the first time even, sits down, 1 second into the game, you're out of it, and you just get to sit back for the next 30 minutes going, well, that sucks. At least for now, everyone's getting looted, everyone's getting ready to rotate, so glad to see everyone on their feet, at least getting their feet on the ground before chaos falls.
Australia, I gotta say, if you did not pick them, you should be pretty worried. As you saw coming in, even whenever we're looking at the country intros, doing like the combined shoot together, these guys have been playing together for so long. This is a highly synergized squad.
They're so in sync that they had the excessive energy to make a choreography for the intro show. I mean, that's how much energy they've got. They're bringing to this. Luke getting himself looted on up, of course, far up north side. Not the furthest rotation for them to make, but then again, I mean, we're coming into, they only had so many scrims against one another. So as good as you might be as individuals, as one team, it's the, do we know what we're running into? Do we know what to expect from every single opposing team? And with the amount of games they've had to play against one another, I would say no. You have ideas, you have just some ideas, but with the tricky playing path, with the tricky circle to start things off, it's going to be a guessing game for much part of it.
And yeah, that's what I love about these style of events. There is so much pressure on the IGL system because you have got to make so many on-the-spot calls. That's just, I mean, you can't expect how these teams are going to play. And with that, you have put them from the low ground off that position. But again, traffic jam still holding up around Georgia Pole.
And you know what I like to see? It's Japan getting those shots in early. Japan, arguably one of the more passive countries in general. I mean, when we talk Japanese playstyle in PUBG, Japanese was the team during scrims to kick Canada out of school and apps. They 8-0'd them back-to-back games for.
On the outside, most notably, like whenever we look at Taiwan, there's nowhere to really go, but Canada now having to hold up against Australia, who's coming in from multiple angles.
Calling the bluff here, realizing it's not going to be a full team by any chance. No way 4 people are sitting in there. Australia calling it early. They are committed. This one, nice nade, no damage found though. Flood had the right floor, but unfortunately wall blocking off the damage.
Doing a good job of holding out right now. Canada having to dodge all the Molotovs that are coming in. Keenan has gotten hit, and it's just going to be slow and still attacked up, but Keenan does manage to drop a nade right on top of Tiggleton. Pushes now, starting to come through. It's going to be a knock on the other side of it. Now Shinboy trying to find the angle for it. Does get knocked, and that's going to be the end of that fight.
Back to back, you say that, but look at this Canada coming in. The cavalry is arriving a little late, and I think it's going to be too late for it to happen. Fortunate for Australia here. Tiggleton got knocked way out of the compound. He was in the open, and fortunately, there was no response from Canada fast enough to kind of come and help out. An issue now being the position that the remaining 2 split players from Canada went from has now been taken over by Finland. So fast in response, and Canada essentially has nowhere to play from now.
I do want to point out Finland did steal one of those kills. Yep. So kudos to them for keeping an eye on what's going on around them at the time. Australia is also going to get the res onto Tiggleton out there. And, I mean, this is just going to be the nature of the beast from here on out. It's just going to be predominantly hill fights. This is a very open area of the map. Well, I say open. It's not very clustered with buildings. This is about finding dips, trees, whatever you can find to try to work around.
I love the hard commit from Australia, saying, you know, way forward, Ketba, only player left alive for Turkey, peeks forward, doesn't get an angle.
Don't stay there, Turkey.
How are they still 4 alive?
They are just murdering the entire world to get inside this zone. UK did take out Indonesia while this is going on, so do have a strong spot. They are running a separated position.
One's been fighting. Well, honestly, with the exception of Finland, they've been able to sit tight in the compound for a good while. Everyone else, you can see the meds, you can see the heals. They are running on fumes at this point. Everyone trying to stay put out here in the open.
Should be noted, Vietnam has been doing a great job on murdering as they make their way in as well, picking up its kill points. But Brazil also trying to stack up more, realizing where Chinese Taipei is, but they have to run through a wide open field to try to get there. Haven trying to go for a flank point, looks in, gets the spray in, and there you go! Well played.
Haven, up and coming superstar, showing up here in game number 1. 5 kills already, adding the Brazil total up to 7. Top 6 guaranteed as well. And here comes Korea. Full speed forward, bumping into each other. Oh no! You don't want to do that. Logan full speed forward, takes the gun. Oh, the car! Taken down by the vehicle. Still one alive. Vex goes down too, and they all fall.
The nades! Vex just dropped the nade right on top of him. Lash trying to crawl his way into this one. Haisaki at range looking in. Korea does manage to at least stabilize and get one of their members back up.
The fact that they survived just with 2 out of that one, wow.
Australia, though. Australia's still so strong, and coming into this, in this area, they are going to be able to feast off of this.
No reason for them to rush anything. They know that they have Brazil down towards the southwest. They know that the UK inside the circle. But if you grab enough control up here on the hillsides, if you spread out and take that entire ridge, you have all the vision in the world to pinpoint exactly where you want to go next circle. In the meantime, Haisaki, no smokes remaining. He could use a few of them to get down this hill.
Brazil hopping in the vehicle. They are going to make their way to the edge of the zone, but not entirely inside of it yet. You can hear long-range shots is Lash.
What's going to happen eventually?
I mean, he had to run into a bad spot, so Haisaki does eventually drop. And now we're looking at a hillside that's just going to be all kinds of violence on Australia's side. It's going to be Brazil making the push into that. Just few options. They have to come in through here. UK is pretty close, but they really can't do too much on their angle that they're playing from. So this is really about, can the 3 for Australia hold back whatever Brazil is trying to bring?
Look at the utility on the Australian side. I mean, they had that early fight against 2 of the players from Canada, but other than that, they've been sitting tight on the north side of the circle. Still got plenty of vest, plenty of utility, helmet, all in good standing here. Only 1 nade from Monty. There's 2 players now behind the rock just below. He finds a perfect nade here. That's 2 out of Brazil in an instant.
Oh, there we go. Luke does drop the nade on top of Haven. He's going to go down. The other members are spotted. Oh, and there goes the vehicle as well. Deny anything. Circle does pop UK's favor as well as this firefight. That means Australia can stretch down into this. They need to make a move in. Taking the shots in, and Brazil finding themselves in some trouble. But VHZ does get a knock onto Luke in retaliation.
And not until now is Finland going to be forced to make the play out here. If they read this right, if they know the fight on the hilltop is going on right now, that is where you push. You go up, you claim control, you take him out. Soul continuing. They are playing from a shack, and they're still finding knocks across the map.
Leans out, gets some damage in. That's going to buy more time for Australia to get the reses that they need. Finland's got a free path into this, really.
Yep.
They've been doing a great job on controlling the territory just to their west. Nobody's been allowed to come through there, so they know it's open.
Very curious I was to see if Finland was going to wrap north around or try and play the lowlands here. I think they're just, right now, I mean, they're backfilling. They're taking their time. They want to see if a potential fight breaks out. Because if something happens uphill, they will make the northern wrap. Issue is, I'm not sure if they're aware that UK sits in a position that we saw them hesitate to push up towards that shack, and I think it makes perfect sense that they hold back at least for a little while longer. Let the other teams fight one another and have a perfect third-party opportunity yourself.
There's just so much vision in this circle whenever you see people moving in. Third and fourth party, we talked about it earlier. This is going to be so big at this stage. I mean, look at what we're looking at for the circle itself. Trees, a couple of dips. Just like you were saying, the first team that takes the shot, we're essentially looking at a game of chicken, is going to reveal themselves, and that's just going to set up a domino effect. Australia, though, could benefit from that a lot. Definitely. This is a squad that can just turn and fire and start to spray stuff down.
Definitely. How long will UK remain out of combat here? I think it's the deciding factor as to whether Australia or Finland
is what they're trying to do. They don't want nothing to do with what's happening around
Halo,
them.
Sit tight and let the other teams with 4 players still alive fight one another. The issue is, with the pathing into the circle. I'm not sure exactly how UK avoids confrontation, but looks to me now like Finland actually eyeing down towards the south.
This is interesting because we have Finland that's going to be looking at Korea's shack with 2 members, and we've got UK's shack that's to the northwest of that. It's going to be Australia looking in, so we're almost looking at 2 independent fights.
They know exactly where both those teams both those 2 teams are. And I was just going to say they just need a knock. They need some sort of entry, but right now all the gates are closed by the respective guards, and right now if they can find the double vehicle explosion coming up as well. Damage coming out now, Flood over the top shooting again. Keep in mind, UK doing everything they can to remain as tiny as they can. They don't want to do anything here. They want to pop up at the very last moment to get as much damage in as it possibly can.
Here's the big thing. Circle favors Australia. They've got the high.
Want to go down for get the rest, and then all of a sudden you're in a 2v4 against Finland, or potentially a 2v2 against the UK.
Here's my thing. Throwing it in, and it's going to be Brazil on the other side. Double teaming up into it now. Finland trying to make the run in. Are we going to see LFP make the push into Australia, or is it going to be just enough to distract? A couple of shots are coming out from him, and now it's going to be Finland looking down into Brazil's direction as well.
Page falls down as Flood finds one. Damage done towards Finland. The rest should be possible here behind the rock. There's, again, Finland, plenty utility to work with. Will have smokes up. Cover, circle moving in. Slow to HP for LFP. Can't find it. Wanted to, didn't happen. Brazil fall in 4th as the climb uphill begins for Finland and a potential win this game.
Here is the fight right now. UK is hiding out in their shack as they should be doing. They're just trying to survive, get as many points as they can. But Australia looking down at Finland. These 2 teams have owned opposite sides of this hillside for so long. Finland doing a great job in controlling everything to the west of Severny, moving in. Meanwhile, Australia has been walking their way through squads to try to find the right approach into this one, and now finds themselves looking down into Finland's approach.
This game ends on UK. I mean, this game literally ends on their shack. You can see the mollies being thrown now. They knew there was going to be people around. Vard is prone outside, though. The X-ray might not give that away that easily. They're outside, but Fader finally, Nate coming in from Diggory, finds one. Don't take anything for granted. You have the utility, use it wisely.
I love this. You can see that Finland is trying to use the shack to give them the cover to get into the circle and deny everything from Australia. Australia's trying to separate out, trying to find new angles, get the sprays in. Flood does get the knock on Mixie, and now it's getting a little bit spicy. Monty does go down as well, as it's going to be a full-on firefight. T-Bone caught in the middle of all of it, but it sprays every section of this map.
T-Bone still prone, dodging and weaving as best as he can as the nades continue to come in. 3 alive. Australia still with a chance to get a rest if they can find time to get it. T-Bone mollies up on forward. Do not want to allow for anyone to play this shack. Flood just exactly able to avoid the molly from behind. The other side, T-Bone spots one. Now they know there's one just on the other side of the car.
Going for the spray and finally does go down. United Kingdom is eliminated, but it's going to be full-on members finding it out. Flood going for the spray and 2 members of Finland on the opposite side trying to defend up. Are we going to see Australia on the side flank find the angles for it? They are trying so hard, but Diggory trying to hold it up, but it's going to be Flood that gets a knock on a page. Now, just Diggory up, finding on one side of it, sitting at 7 kills, but no! It's going to be Australia that picks up the first round.
Australia all the way from down under. They grab themselves win number 1.
I mean, are you really that surprised that Australia managed to pick up the first round? This is a squad we were talking about that is just so ridiculously strong, and that's exactly how they want to play. Find an area where they can just see everything that moves, and suddenly they own the entirety of the circle, and every